Hi everybody, I'm Melissa. Welcome to CloudMom. Today's video is about, should you wake a sleeping baby? You know the old saying, never wake a sleeping baby. Well, I sort of half agree, and here's why. First, when you first have your little newborn baby, they will be drifting in and out of sort of being asleep and eating. And that's sort of how it goes. And then as they get a little bit older, they'll start to have slightly longer periods of awake time, and over time they will become more and more awake, for longer stretches during the day. But what happened to me, and this is like the core of all the newborn videos I've done, is that I found that if I just nursed the baby a tiny amount and then they drifted off into sleep without trying to keep them awake to do a full feeding, I would basically be nursing 24/7, which some people are able to do, but for me it was just too difficult. So what I did is try to keep the baby awake by changing their diaper, putting like a little cold water on their temples, undressing them, all sorts of things like that, so that I would get a full feeding, so that I didn't have to feed 24/7, and I could feed every 3 hours and eventually every 4 hours. So in that respect, I did wake a sleeping baby. Okay, how about naps for both a newborn baby and for an older baby? Well, in my view, I did wake babies up from their naps, because if I let them, I just lost my notes, 1 second. If I let them go and go and go and have like a 4-hour long nap and they didn't eat regularly during the day, well, guess what? They didn't want to sleep very much at night. So yes, I did wake babies up from their naps. Some people probably think this is not a good idea, but it's what worked for me. Okay, how about at night? Small babies at night, and as they get older, should you wake them up at night? I have these schedules and I say you feed at 3, you feed at 6, and people are like, well, should I wake the baby up? Here's where I think this comes out. This is definitely something you need to go over with your doctor. My babies were so tiny at the beginning, they definitely wanted me waking them up at night to make sure they were getting that food. And once weight gain had been established and things were looking fine, my doctor would say, okay, now you can sort of let it go, Melissa, and see when the baby wakes up. And when the baby wakes up, then you feed the baby. But for me, that wasn't, at least for a couple weeks, and maybe it was during like month 2 that I actually started to do that. And I think in the normal course of things with young babies, they will tend to wake up during the night. But anyway, so that really was the issue, sort of a weight gain sort of thing. After that point, I think if your baby's gaining weight and you've gone over it with your doctor, you're feeding your baby regularly during the day, your baby's napping regularly during the day, you put the baby down at night, I think most doctors will say, okay, let him go, let's see how long he sleeps for, and you get some rest too, mama, and then when the baby wakes up, you feed the baby. And the nighttime becomes less of the focus in terms of regular feedings. But again, something you have to go over with your doctor. So anyway, that's a very long-winded way of answering the question, should you wake a sleeping baby? And I guess I say sometimes, yes, I did. It worked for me. I'd love to hear what you guys did. Thanks so much for watching CloudMom, and I will see you next time.